Thanks very much for staying with us. Time now for Eye on Africa with me, Georgia Calvin-Smith. Tonight, Nigeria is in shock after at least 21 people are gunned down at a Catholic church in a rare attack in the southwest. As the vice president visits some of the dozens wounded, more questions are raised about the country's worsening insecurity. Also, West African leaders say that they'll keep sanctions on Mali. The ECOWAS bloc says that they'll keep talking to the country's ruling junta about easing the measures if it speeds up the return to democracy. And Ryanair sparks a backlash in forcing South African passengers to take a test in afrikaans if they want to fly to the UK. The language of early Dutch colonisers was enforced in some schools during apartheid and is used by just 12% of South Africans. But first, the southwestern Nigerian state of Ondo is facing 7 days of mourning after gunmen killed at least 21 people at a church on Sunday. Numbers are still unclear, though. The death toll could be far higher, with some reporting up to 50 people died. Witnesses say that an explosion went off at the St. Francis Catholic Church in Owo before at least 5 attackers opened fire on the congregation through the windows.
I ran back to the church and saw my two children, and we brought them down here to Federal Medical Center. And I saw also so many people who are wounded and dead. In Nigeria, we talk about insecurity. So what comes to my mind is that we are not secured. Because if we are secured, such things will not happen. If it happens, the people who are involved will be apprehended.
Well, dozens of people were wounded, and Vice President Yemi Obasanjo visited some of the injured on Monday. Our Samuel Hoyer joins us now with more. Sam, so this is the first time something like this has happened in the southwest. It's shocked communities there and elsewhere throughout the country. What have you been hearing that Nigerians have been saying in the wake of the attack?
Well, we've seen attacks like this elsewhere in the country, especially in the northwest and the northeast. And for many, it was so far away, but now we've seen it getting in the southwestern part of the country. And there had been quite a lot of outrage at what happened. The social media had been full of a lot of comments. People are extremely angry. And most of those making these comments are people from the southern part of the country who believe this attack was carried out by elements from the northern part of the country. And for many, it is that feeling that you cannot be in your own part of the country and somebody from another part of the country come in and commits this level of atrocity. As many as 30 or more people are known to have died, and it's believed more people are likely to die because many of the injured were taken to hospital in very, very serious condition, actually life-threatening condition.
Now, you've mentioned there's some of the speculation about who may be responsible, but no one's yet officially said that they were behind the attack. Has any investigation made any headway yet?
Well, authorities have ordered investigation, and we are awaiting the outcome of this investigation. Large contingents of soldiers, large contingents of the military have been sent into the area to try to see what exactly went wrong. The governor of the state said it is likely those who perpetrated this crime came in from Mali, people who were trained in Libya. And this ties down a bit to what the people are saying. They are saying that this attack was carried out by Fulani herdsmen. These Fulani people, we have them in Nigeria, we have them in other parts of West Africa. But if indeed these people came in from Mali, if they are Fulani people from Mali, then definitely they couldn't have done it alone. They definitely would have had a lot of local collaboration to be able to carry out this type of attack within Nigeria.
Now, we heard earlier one of the victims there speaking about the growing general anxiety about insecurity across Nigeria. Is that just a perception, or are things genuinely getting worse on that front?
I think if you look back 7 years before President Muhammadu Buhari came in, Nigerians were complaining about the level of insecurity. But if you look today, I think what we had at that time was just this. I mean, you would say that was insecurity. That was security now, because things have degenerated significantly. We've seen groups carry out all kinds of attacks that we've never seen before, even before President Muhammadu Buhari came in 7 years ago. We've seen attacks on a military academy. We've seen lots of attacks on military institutions. We've seen a train bombed and passengers were shot. Some of them were abducted. This particular incident happened 11 weeks ago. Up till today, about 60 people abducted from that train are still being held. Those who abducted these people are bringing out video saying that government should meet a number of demands. We've seen mass abductions carried out. Traveling by road has become difficult. You can't travel from one town or another without facing the risk of being abducted on a daily basis. The media is reporting 30 people, 50 people abducted. We're also seeing mass killings like this. So definitely there have been a large degree of insecurity in Nigeria in the last few years.
Thank you very much. Sam Olukoya there, speaking to us from Nigeria. Now, European low-cost carrier Ryanair says that South African passport holders have to prove their nationality by doing a test in Afrikaans if they want to fly to the UK. The airline says it's a precaution against the high number of fake South African passports in circulation, but the language is a hangover from Dutch colonisers, is still identified with apartheid and the white majority, and is only spoken by about 12% of South Africans. Critics have slammed Ryanair's move as discriminatory. Lawrence Berstecker has more.
A bizarre new travel requirement by Europe's biggest airline. Ryanair is asking all South African passengers to fill out a general knowledge test to prove their nationality, a move that's raising a few eyebrows, especially as the test must be taken in Afrikaans, which is only spoken by 12% of South Africa's population.
They're using this in a manner that is utterly absurd. You're sitting with roughly 50 million people who do not understand Afrikaans. So they might as well have taken Zulu, which is the biggest language in South Africa.
The new rule, which is already in effect, applies to all South African passport holders flying to the UK. It came after Pretoria warned last week of a high prevalence of fake and counterfeit passports. But Ryanair's decision to impose a questionnaire in Afrikaans was heavily criticized, with many South Africans accusing the airline of racism and discrimination.
It's very discriminatory to a whole host of South Africans who don't speak Afrikaans. It doesn't prove anything that you're South African just because you can speak, what's this thing called, Afrikaans.
Created by Dutch settlers in the 17th century, Afrikaans remained South Africa's official language until the end of apartheid in 1994. It's now fallen behind Zulu and Xhosa as the country's third most spoken language and is still strongly associated with colonialism and segregation.
Well, Mali will continue to face economic sanctions from West African bloc ECOWAS. The status quo is being maintained after regional leaders met over the weekend to discuss the recent military takeovers in Mali, Guinea and Burkina Faso. Sam Bradpeace with more.
Mali has faced tough economic sanctions since January, and following a weekend meeting of ECOWAS, the regional power bloc, these sanctions look set to remain in place. Malian officials have reacted with a mix of anger and disappointment, the country's foreign minister telling a local TV station that the only people really to suffer the impact and the fallout of these sanctions were ordinary Malian civilians themselves. ECOWAS, though, is in a difficult position. On the one hand, it doesn't want to be inflicting misery on local populations. On the other, it's worried that if it doesn't uphold the sanctions, the avalanche of coups d'etat, which has been seen in West Africa in recent years, will continue. Mali, remember, has experienced 2 coups d'etat since 2020, and there have also been similar military takeovers in Burkina Faso and Guinea. Now, the military regimes in control in those countries have called for a transitional period during which they hope to rebuild the state, rewrite constitutions and root out corruption. But ECOWAS is calling on all of those countries to hold elections as soon as possible.
Sam Brad piece there for us. Now, Dakar continues to pulse to the abundance of art and culture on offer for its 14th Biennale. Alongside the concerts and exhibitions on offer in the Senegalese capital is an unconventional play that's making waves. Supreme remains premiered there this year, taking the audience back through time as an African mask recounts her turbulent journey through history.
Staring silently into the distance, the mask slowly begins to move before taking on a life of its own. In front of a mesmerized audience, it tells the untold story of Africa, a continent where the past no longer exists. A mystical tale through which the play's director hopes to spark a reflection on the impact of colonization on Africa's cultural heritage.
When we question the memory of the masks, when we look at their roots, their journey, which brought them from Africa to Europe, we very often cross paths with thousands of bodies that were also brought under similar circumstances.
Lying in the shadows, the audience is invited to follow the mask's journey from Africa to Europe. An odyssey that takes it through the hands of a scientist who uses it to measure skulls, and in the offices of a Belgian general, nostalgic of the colonial era. A riveting spectacle that fully captures the spectator's attention and makes them part of the performance.
It was really powerful. I felt it here. It's a mixture of emotions. You feel that you can participate in the work, that you are part of it.
Over the past few years, Western countries have begun returning stolen African art to their countries of origin. A step in the right direction, but also a drop in the ocean. Hundreds of thousands of looted artifacts and works of art are still held in museums and private collections across the globe.
Wow, that looks so interesting. That is, though, all we have time for Eye on Africa. Thanks for joining us. Do so again. Take care.
"20 years after the end of the Civil War, Angola is struggling to move on. The weapons may be silent, but the wounds have not finished healing.
Quando isto acontece, não estão a castigar o angolano, estamos a vender o nosso ódio em relação ao outro.
They fought for their country, but feel left behind as rampant corruption widens the gap of inequality.
Ninguém que está a fazer isso. O anticombatente é lixo, é tapete para pisar para eles.
But a new generation of activists appears poised to pick up the flame, demanding yet again.
Para mim, viver em paz seria viver numa sociedade com justiça.
Revisiting Angola on France 24 and France24.com.